Okay, so I don't know if this is streaming or not. I don't know if I have to start all over again. So I'm going to start all over again. And hopefully it won't screw up on us here. So, um, yeah, let's start all over again. Real esoteric spirituality without all of the fluff, without all of the nonsense. This is the thunderwizard.com YouTube channel. Click subscribe and then hit the little bell button so that you can be notified whenever I've uploaded a video or when I'm doing the live Q&A videos. All right, so my stream health seems to be okay. I'm still seeing flashing lights everywhere. Anyway, hopefully you guys will end up back here. You're not watching another alternative universe where the streaming has stopped. Hopefully you're going to be watching me. In any case, I'm just going to go ahead and start talking again. So, as I was saying, I want to share with you about a concept. There's actually four concepts. If you're watching this show called the OA, the OA is about a woman who I would call a shaman. She has this ability to travel to other dimensions. Really, what she's able to do is go and travel to inhabit the personalities, her own personalities that are in parallel universes. Okay, so these parallel universes, we're going to talk about that. But what's really interesting to me about this show is that I'm getting a concerned look on my face because once again it's yellow. I may have to just abandon this because it's just the wrong time of day. You know, we'll just have to see if it keeps, you know, having a problem. I am going to abandon for today and try again later. This is very annoying. Anyway, I have to learn to let go of things I can't control. So we're talking about the OA. Now, there are four things here that we want to focus on with this. And what we want to focus on is, first off, the ability to travel to parallel dimensions. Can we do this? The second thing that is in this show, which people may not realize, is this idea that you can use movements to travel to other dimensions. Yeah, I'm seeing myself freeze on and off there. So I'm about this close to abandoning this live stream for today. It's really bugging the crap out of me. We'll keep going here. Anyway, I'll go through all four of these points, and yeah, I don't know, man. If I can't do this stream and have it work, then I'm gonna come back later. You know, it's Saturday afternoon. It's 6 o'clock, so everybody's on their internet doing something. All the kids are on their devices. Okay. All right. So there are four things in this show, the OA. First one is the shaman who is able to travel to other dimensions, and integrate with other selves in other dimensions. The second one is this idea that you can do movements, shamanic movements, to open up portals to other dimensions. And the third one is being able to simply travel to other dimensions themselves. And each one of these things represents things that different sets of knowledge within what I would call shamanic knowledge. The fourth one, which is really the most important, if you watch this show, the OA, if you're already into the second season, sorry, here's a what do they call that? You know, whatever they call that. I'm going to reveal interesting stuff. So if you don't want to hear it, you know, leave now. What they find out later is that you can actually integrate all of yourselves so that you can integrate all of your parallel selves and experience them all, remember them all in whatever universe you're in at any given time. So, those are 4 different tools that the shaman can use. And the first one is just the shaman who channels to the other worlds. They call her the OA, the original angel. I don't know what that means. But it is this idea that the shaman acts as a mediator between different levels of reality. And so this is something that we need to understand, that this is what the shaman does. So let's go over what a shaman is. A shaman is just that. A shaman is a mediator, a channel between this world, this dimension that we're in, and other dimensions. Because those other dimensions aren't somewhere else. Those other dimensions are right here. It's like they're sort of stacked on top of each other. They're right here. And so, whatever other alternate universe where you are somebody else living some other life, doing something else, that isn't somewhere else. That's right here. And so the shaman has the ability to tap into that. The job of the shaman, you can call it wizard, you call it shaman. I use the word shaman because that is the one that most people understand. If I try to use, more traditionally acceptable terms, people get confused. But everybody knows pretty much what a shaman is. They may not intellectually, consciously know what it is, but when I use the word, they know what it is. The job of a shaman is to be able to communicate into this reality for the benefit of the people around him or her, information that they are able to glean in other dimensions to help people and beings in this dimension to reach their highest state. Once again, I'm seeing the picture stop and start. It's really bugging the crap out of me. So, okay, spoiler. All right, so I'm hoping you guys are still with me and that it's not breaking up too bad. Very annoying. Okay. So that's the job of the shaman. The job of the shaman is to be able to not only do all that cool stuff, but to be able to bring practical information back to this realm so that the people around them that they are serving can benefit. This is extremely important. If somebody wants to be a shaman, and I don't have, I'm not one of those elitists that say that, only those who are called can be shamans. I think that's nonsense. There are some people who have a duty, you want to call it a karmic duty, to share and to use that talent. Yeah, there are some people that are, more called to that than others. There are some people who have in previous lifetimes done a lot of work to learn what a shaman is. They may not know that now, and these are the people that just walk around and they seem to have abilities that other people don't have. It means that in previous lifetimes they've worked on it. And it's like anything else. When you study something, when you learn something, that ability, that knowledge, that strength is with you, and you take it with you into subsequent lifetimes. And there are people who want to learn how to do that. So I'm okay with anybody wanting to practice shamanism. I don't have a problem with that. As always, I need to make I need to state that shamanism is not just about having altered states of consciousness. That's not what it's about. And definitely, I will say that if somebody is using an external stimulus, using narcotics, using power plants, using any kind of ingested substance to force the brain to release the DMT and other chemicals, force the individual to have a near-death experience, which, by the way, that's what all externally induced visions are, whether it be from ayahuasca or from LSD or from holding your breath and trying to faint, those are all externally induced. And that is, if there's a hierarchy of most powerful to least powerful, the least powerful is that. So a shaman is not just somebody who does that. And I say that because there's a ton of people out there, especially nowadays, who think that's what shamanism is. And I know people, I've talked to them, and they say they're a shaman, and I say, hey, so am I. And I say, what lineage and what practice? And they look at me like they don't know what I'm talking about. And I find out that their idea of shamanism is just to, drink ayahuasca and have a trip. And, I don't, if they don't ask my opinion, I don't tell them. But, that's not really what shamanism is. Shamanism, the ultimate ability of a shaman is to be able to tap into these other dimensions that are on top of our dimension at any given point in time. And the only thing that prevents us from doing that, this is important to know, the only thing that prevents us from doing that is our own unconscious, unresolved issues. We all have them. So I'm not trying to say that people who can't do this, at the snap of their fingers, they're somehow, less spiritually advanced. If you're a human being, you have unconscious issues. And this is another issue, because even if you do have a successful journey, a successful vision, it doesn't necessarily mean that the information you're getting is truth from on high. It could very well be you just traveled to your own unconscious mind. We do it every night when we sleep. Every night when we dream, we are traveling to our own unconscious mind. And so the same thing can happen in visions. And what's most important is to be able to have something of value that you bring back with you to help not only yourself but other people. If it's to help yourself, it's to help you be more empowered to help others. It's always focused on practical evolution for everything and everybody. It's never just for your own entertainment. Having said that, there is a lot of value in doing shamanic journeys to find out what your unconscious issues are and to communicate with your higher self, with your lower self, in order to better understand what it is that you're dealing with, so that when you come back, you can be a more effective, happier person. That's also something that's valuable. A lot of people, while I'm on the subject, a lot of people complain that they can't have shamanic journeys, that they try, they put on the music, they put on the drums, they do whatever, and they don't see or feel anything. And there could be a bunch of reasons for that, but that's what this is for. Journeys.thunderwizard.com. If you're interested in having a guided shamanic journey, I don't know how many, I may be adding more. I think 4 or 5 guided shamanic journeys where I guide you to experience that. And these are journeys that I've experienced. These are realms that I have journeyed to many times, and they are places that I know exist. And these are beings and entities that I know everybody can communicate with. So, what ends up happening is that your head gets in the way. And it's a very tenuous. It's a very sort of like the internet. It's very easily that connection can be very easily broken, and you break it when you overthink. So this is the benefit of having somebody guide you. When you allow somebody to guide you through a journey, then your intellect sort of shuts off. It allows you to surrender to the process and have your own experience. So if you're interested in that, you can go here, journeys.thunderwizard.com. All right, so the movements. So again, I'll say again, there are 4 things. Sorry, the other thing that's going on is I've just got this new laptop, which has replaced my previous computer. And so I can't take that big old thing with me to Australia and New Zealand. So I have this laptop, and so I'm also getting used to that and new software and all that. So my apologies. So let's go over again the 4 things that are in this show, the OA, which I find incredibly interesting and fun to watch. First one is the shaman. We've already talked about what a shaman is. The second one is movements. And they do these movements in order to open up another dimension. And in that other dimension, they're able to travel to other dimensions. And it just, when I first saw it, I got chills because it reminded me so much of the spirit fighting practice that I do. Although, I mean, it doesn't look anything like that. But, what they do on that show kind of looks like modern dance to me. But they've got the exact right idea that if you do certain movements, which what it does is it sets off switches in your body in a certain like equation, a certain sequence, then that releases all kinds of things, and it really does open up to other dimensions. And this is what I would call, generally speaking, I would call Qigong. And the Qigong practice that I teach is actually designed to help you do that. If you master that, one of the things that you will get from it is you will be able to travel outside of your body. You will be able to connect to higher beings that you can communicate with that will teach you. Especially in the beginning when you don't realize it, every time you do the celestial qigong, you basically send out a bat signal to higher entities which come and work with you. You may not realize it on a conscious level, but trust me, it's happening. So this is the second thing in this, those movements. This is coming from some real thing. There's real sciences, spiritual sciences that allow you to do this. And then the third is traveling to dimensions, which is basically, what shamanic journeying is all about. Shamanic journeying, again, is not a journey somewhere else. You're not traveling, well, most of the time. Originally, the first shamans actually would travel outside of their body to find out where the herds of animals were. In case you wanted to know where shamanism started from, it started from a practical need to eat. And the shamans would go into trance and they would fly out of their body across the mountain ranges and find out where the herds of animal were, and then tell the hunters, okay, the animals are over there on the other side of that ridge. They'll be there tomorrow morning. So that was the original how human beings first started learning how to shamanic journey. But now we have gotten to the point where we have evolved where we can journey to other dimensions that are right here. And I'm saying that I believe that for personal evolution, I believe the most powerful use of this is to experience other selves that are in parallel dimensions and to be able to learn from them and ideally integrate them into one into one being, which is yourself. This is the fourth thing that is coming up in this show, is that they're finding out as they are jumping to these other selves in these other dimensions, they are coming to realize that they can unite the different parts of themselves and have memories of multiple lifetimes in one dimension. And so you get the sense that they're coming to their true authentic self. And this is what the fourth aspect is of this show, and I think this is what soul retrieval really is. So people ask me a lot about soul retrieval, and they think that's very important. But for me, soul retrieval is really not that complicated a concept. It's about integrating all aspects of yourself that are within you. So all these other dimensions are within you, all these other facets of yourself, the king, the pauper, the criminal, the priest, the judge, the jailer, whatever you can imagine, there is a personality of yours that is in another dimension living that out. I just named a few. So just because I named them, there is a dimension where all of those things are happening. I exist in all of those dimensions doing all of those things somewhere. I'm only aware in this body of being in this dimension. And so it is my job to make this life in this dimension the best one. That's my responsibility. And it's a responsibility I have to all of those other aspects of me that are in other dimensions, because what I do here, if this dimension is the one where I live my highest awareness, I live my highest success, then those other selves will vibrate on that level and be drawn to this path. And when we can get everybody into one path, then that's when you really achieve that divine status. You really achieve, you transcend the limitations of three-dimensional space-time. So there's that. I'll take a short break here, and then I'll come back and take some questions, and hopefully everybody has migrated over to this one. I'm sorry, the other one just stopped working, and I had to start streaming again. So anyway, I'll be right back. Hi, I'm Michael Denny of SpiritTao.com, and this is Celestial Negung Part 1. Celestial Negung means that this is power that is descending from heaven. And the idea is that we are all microcosms of the entire universe. You are the entire universe, and everything around you is simply the projection. You are looking within yourself. So when you look up into the stars at night, you're actually looking deep within your own body. When you look at the sun, the moon, the trees, the flowers, you're looking within yourself. This is Negung. And so what we're doing is we're simply releasing that infinity from within us. You are tapping into and releasing the power that is within our own body, our own cells, our own organs. So one of the reasons that I'm making this DVD is in the hope that the essence and the spirit of the teaching of the Shang Qing arts can be taught to the world at large, and it is my hope that the core essence of what the Shang Qing tradition is will continue to live and grow and evolve. As we move on into the Aquarian age, everything is changing. I don't need to tell you that. The entire world is changing, and what we are seeing now is that if people hold on to external things, they are very challenged in life. And those who are making the transition into the next phase that we are moving into in the world as we approach 2012, those who look within and find their source of strength from within, those are the people who are getting the most out of life and will make the transition into the next phase of evolution most comfortably. It is my belief that the Shang Qing tradition is one method whereby human beings can evolve into the next level of being in the most comfortable fashion and be able to take advantage of the rapid, energetic, mental, and spiritual changes that are going on in the world today. Okay, so you saw that. So it was 10 years ago, not quite 10 years ago that I first put that out there, Celestial Qigong. There's a reason why I still am selling that, because it's been the best-selling product and service that I have. There's a reason for that. So I recommend checking that out. Before I look at the questions, I want to share with you again some changes that are happening with this channel. So if you've been watching me recently, you have heard me talk about neo.thunderwizard.com up here, and that there is a new live stream question and answer that is on the thunderwizard.com channel. That is for people who have subscribed to the Manifestation Mastery course. And what we're going to start doing on that channel is we're going to start doing live Q&As like we do here. But it's going to be more in depth, and it's going to be more focused towards people who are practicing this path. You're going to see here, I'm going to start reading questions. You're going to see there's some brand new people who probably, are very new to what I'm teaching. And so what I've done in the past is I will say, hey, listen, ask a question, read my stuff, watch my videos, have an intelligent question. And I've come to the realization that's not fair to them. They're just on YouTube and they're looking for something and they saw live now and they want to ask questions. So I'm going to address more general questions here. I'll still answer any questions you have. But the thunderwizard.com live Q&As, which will be at least once a week, are going to be for people who really want to get into some specific, aspects of the practice, really want to go deep. So that is available for anybody. If you're interested and you're brand new, but you want to sit in on a master class, you can still come to those Q&As. And then there, if your question is too general, I'll say, hey, listen, read this book or, one of my books, or watch this video, and then come back. But here, I'll take any questions from anybody, and I'll no longer, weed people out just because they're not asking the right question. I'll answer any question you guys have. So for that, again, go to neo.thunderwizard.com and follow the links to the thunderwizard.com page. All right, so let's get into some questions, see what kind of questions we have here. Let me move this guy. What am I doing here? Come on, you guys. Oh, it's already. Oh, see, again, I'm getting used to my new laptop, so it's already where I need it to be. All right, so let's see here. Ian Sanders, question. If I want to become famous and have money, is that bad ego and stuff? I like the external world. I don't know, I don't really know why you're asking that question. Does it matter to you what I say? If I say to you that being famous is bad, you're obviously asking me this question so that I will say to you, what you want from me is to say, no, it's okay for you to be famous and to have money and to be in the external world. So, obviously there's nothing wrong with that. I don't know you well enough to know why you want that. And you've got this judgment attached to it, which is that bad ego and stuff. Well, there's no such thing as a bad ego. You either have an ego or you don't. So when we say that somebody is egotistical, we're really not saying that they have too much ego. What we're really saying is that they don't have enough. Because when somebody is insecure, they do one of two extreme things. They either become very dominant and controlling and abusive and greedy and all that kind of stuff, or they become a doormat and they go around kissing people's ass trying to get approval. And those are the two extremes of not having a strong enough sense of self. If you have a strong enough sense of self, then you're okay with other people having different opinions. You're okay with, criticism. I'll be the first to admit that I have a lot of growth to do in that department. I don't do well when people criticize me. I don't like that. I've got definitely my, insecure ego issues that I struggle with. So when you say to me that you want to be famous and you want to be rich, I don't know if you're doing that because that's coming from your soul, like, your soul purpose, in case you've never heard me talk about that, or if it's coming from fear. If you want to be famous because you don't feel that people love you and you don't feel comfortable unless people are paying attention to you, then you're going to end up like Britney Spears or Michael Jackson if you're successful at getting famous. Britney Spears is saying outright now, after all these years, that she can't handle being famous. That's driving her crazy. That she wants to just be able to put on some jeans and t-shirts and go outside and walk to the store. She can't do that. And I think it was her and somebody else that said that she can't even date anybody. She's so insecure because that fame has created a boundary. The fame doesn't connect you to people. That's what's important to know. Fame will not give you the feeling of being connected to others. If you're looking for fame because you like the idea of having power, that's not coming from a place of confidence. It's coming from a place of fear. And so, that would be what you're calling bad ego. There's nothing wrong with having money either. I mean, I'm now in a position where I need to start making some more money because I've just invested a ton of money in, some changes in my life, and I've just, paid taxes far more than I thought I was going to, and holy crap! So I'm in the hole financially. So I have no problem, doing whatever I have to do. You're seeing, at least three different links here. All of them, if people follow them and purchase stuff, will bring money to me. So I'll take as much money as people want to give me. I happen to have a rule about that, which is that I feel like I need to provide something. So whenever I have, you don't see a donate, and maybe that's my fault. Maybe I should do that. You don't see any donate links. It's because I don't believe in that. I believe that, if you have something of value, give it to the world and charge people for it. And if it's really something they want, they'll pay you. And if it's something that benefits them, they'll keep coming back and they'll keep paying you. So I have no problem creating stuff and making money. So there's nothing wrong with money. But if you are under the impression that if you have $1 billion, that those $1 billion are somehow going to give you some fulfillment or some safety, then you're coming from fear. And that is what you're calling bad ego. It's not bad ego, it just means that you're insecure. Now, let me explain to you why that is. When you understand the laws of the universe, neo.thunderwizard.com, when you understand the laws of the universe, then you understand that operating from fear and operating from insecurity is not bad in a moral sense. It's just a very ineffective way for you to function. You're not going to get what you want out of life. So the first thing that we learn is that you have come into this life in order to experience and fulfill desires that your soul wants. Your soul wants to experience things in the three-dimensional world, including sex, including adventure, including fun, including love, including family, if you're meant to have that. These are things your soul wants to experience, and this is a good thing. Now, because you have chosen to come here with what I'm calling a soul desire and a soul purpose, the universe, which is this three-dimensional video game that we live in, this virtual reality that we call real life, this matrix is a conscious life force entity in and of itself that responds to certain stimuli. And when you operate from trust, this is what religious people call faith in God. What real faith in God is that you believe that the universe is going to take care of you as long as you're going after what you want. If you're going after what you want and you trust the universe, then you will be given all the money you need, all of the resources you need, all of the love, all of the recognition, all the fulfillment. You'll get all of that stuff if you listen to your soul and follow what it wants to do. If you operate from fear, which is, I need more money. If I don't have enough money, I won't be okay. If I don't have enough fame, I won't be okay. If people don't love me, I won't be okay. If you have, I need thus and such, or I won't be okay. If any of that is in you, that is coming from fear. And that comes from an assumption that the universe won't provide for you. When you operate on any level from that assumption, the universe responds negatively to that. Because the universe, what we call the matrix is here to serve you. And the matrix is here to give you the resources so you can have the journey your soul wants to experience. If you are operating from fear, the matrix goes, oh, hang on, they've forgotten what they're supposed to do, and I'm not allowed to help you. You have to figure it out. Once you realize what it is you truly want and you stop going after these illusions, lots of money, fame, if that's something you're going after because you're running away, because you're in pain or you're in fear, then the universe is not going to help you. And you're going to say, why doesn't anything work for me? And then you're going to say, I need more money. If I just had more money, and it becomes like a, self-perpetuating insanity, where the more that you go after the money to be safe, the less the universe responds, which makes you feel more fearful, which makes you want to go after more money, which makes the universe retract even more, which makes you more fearful. And so this is why just believing in the universe is the first thing that I teach. If you don't trust the universe, then you're guaranteed there's going to be some challenge and some difficulty and some pain. All right, I'm seeing my. I sure hope this doesn't stay flipping out on me. Anyway, we'll see what happens when I move. All right, so to answer your question, no, that there's nothing wrong with wanting to become famous and have money if that is what your soul purpose is all about. And this is what, if you go to courses.thunderwizard.com, there will be a link there for Find Your Perfect Career. And one of the consultations that I do is that if I can ask you enough questions and you can answer me honestly, and I can usually do this within an hour period, I can help you. It's not me that does it, it's you. I can help you find out what your soul desire is. And then the question is, you just got to go do it. And then when you go do that, then again, the universe kicks in and gives you all that stuff that you need. It may not be what you think you want. One of the problems is that people think they know what they want, and they're not coming from their soul. This is one of the big problems with The Secret. The idea that the law of attraction, this is one of the big problems with the law of attraction as it is being taught. There are people who know that they think they want money, for instance, and because they think they want money because they're afraid, then what ends up happening is that they try and build up all of these emotions to feel better about money and I'm rich, and it doesn't work for them. Well, it's because it's coming from fear. It's not really what they want. Whenever somebody says to me, I want to win the lottery, or I want to do this, or I need, my soul desires to pay off my debts, I already know that they're in conflict and they don't know what their soul wants. Anyway, I talk about that a lot, so I won't take up the whole time to do that here. All right, so let's take a look at some more questions. So again, for those of you who are new, what I prefer is that you only put your questions on here. This really isn't just a discussion, free-for-all kind of thing. Reason for that is if you're dropping your opinion or just dropping a this or saying a statement, I have to scroll through all of that to find the questions. And I miss people's questions. And so what I'd like for you to do is to write the word question and then write a well thought out question so that I can answer it. And, restrict your comments to questions, and then that'll be most helpful. All right, so where did we go here? So I think I answered the famous one. Crone woman walking. Question. What is the meaning of a fetch being temporarily killed in my shamanic journey? Being temporarily killed? My fetch was killed getting me past a barrier in a journey. I don't know. I've never heard of that. Doesn't mean it can't happen. I've just never heard of it. You said it was temporarily killed, so your fetch can't be killed. So this is what's important to know. Again, as I was talking earlier, just because you have a vision, it doesn't mean that you're getting a vision directly from source or from God or whatever. You may be exploring your own unconscious mind. So your fetch being killed, getting you past a barrier. I mean, if it got you past a barrier, then it could mean all kinds of things. It could mean that you have to die to something within yourself. It could represent insecurity that you have. You don't feel like you can do it, so your protector dies on you. I don't know enough. But I think if you listen, you'll get the answer. Yeah, I'm seeing myself getting frozen and unfrozen. That's very annoying. I pay for internet. I shouldn't have to watch that. All right. Let's see here. So I don't know enough to know what that means. I've never heard of that, but I think meditate on it, and I think the answer will come to you. That's the other thing about shamanic journeys is that things that happen, words, phrases, things you're told, things you see, symbols. These are things that are meant to be meditated on over perhaps the rest of your life. They're like information that's in a zip file, and you have to unload that zip file and look at it throughout your life. So don't be too impatient to figure it out. If it's not clear to you right away, keep meditating on what it means. Just meditating on it will bring about a big shift for you, even if you don't understand it, because it's working on the unconscious level to get you aligned. So again, as I said in the beginning, if you didn't hear it, is that the whole point of all of this journey is for us to align with all of the other parts of ourselves in the infinite numbers of parallel universes that exist. When we're able to align with all of ourselves, that is when we become, truly God on earth, or, reach our divine potential. Okay. See, what have I got here? So, Wolf of Odin question: what is una voluspa? I don't know. Sorry, I don't know the answer to that. Ein Sanders. So it's till I'm 18. Can you give me a reading? I don't know what you're asking. You're not 18 years old. Can I give you a reading? Well, if you want to buy a reading from me, you can. I don't know what kind of reading you want. So go to courses.thunderwizard.com and find out exactly what kind of reading you want. And if you buy one, and you have your parents' permission, I'll give you a reading. Let's see. Netheria Fade. Can you point me in the right direction to find your videos that talk more about soul purpose? You have a lot of videos to go through. Again, that's what these links are for. Okay? If you go to any one of these links, you're going to find it. First thing that you want to do is you want to go and look for the shamanic. Here, let me write this down for you here. So here's a book that I write about this, the Shamanic Secret Commandment. It's going to take me a while to get used to doing this on a laptop. Shamanic Secret Commandment to a Perfect Life. Okay, so that's the name of the book, and there are videos by that same name. They're also, I don't know if you know how to do this, and I really wish people would learn how to do this. It will save them a lot of time, and it would help me a lot, because YouTube is not designed to help you find videos. It is designed to distract you. But you can go onto somebody's channel, and if you know how to do it, like if you're on a desktop, and right where their name is, if you go to my channel page, Thunder Wizard DOTCOM, you'll see a little magnifying glass. If you click on that, a search bar will pop up, and you can put any keywords you want, and all of my videos associated with that will come up. So there is a playlist called the Shamanic Secret Commandment to a Perfect Life. Go on and look for that. So there you can find the book and the videos for that. One of the things I recommend, so since you've asked it, I'll talk about it now. Up here at neo.thunderwizard.com, there are 4 things which I think are absolutely essential in this path. This will give you the firm foundation for everything else that I do. Okay? That is, first off, you need to know what your destination is. That's what you're asking. What is your soul desire, your soul purpose? That is your destination. And it is the map for your soul. Now, once you have the destination and the map, which, by the way, let me just tell you again, the reason why I use the word career is because My definition of career is that the universe pays you money to be your authentic self. So you don't have to run around trying to be something or do something or find some job that will pay you. All you have to do is find out who your true self is. That is where your career will be. It may be in some established career, it may be doing your own thing like I do. But the universe is waiting for you to do that, and it will throw money at you if you follow that. So that's the first thing you need to know, which is the map, the destination, and that is find your perfect career. The second tool that you need a vehicle. If you have the destination and the map, you need a vehicle to get there. The vehicle to get there is life force energy. Your soul and your body need large amounts of life force energy for health, for happiness, and to get you to your destination. And I keep seeing this red light go off, on and off. You need that for your destination. That is the celestial Qigong. That's tool number 2. Tool number 3 is you need to know the rules of the road. You've got your destination, you've got your map, you've got your vehicle, and it's fueled up, and it's taking you to your life purpose. But if you don't know the rules of the road, then you may not get there. So the rules of the road are the 5 rules to master the matrix, and I've already shared with you 2 of them, which is that if the first thing you need to do is trust the universe responds to that. Second one is if you operate from fear, it will restrict your resources. You'll experience that as the universe is cruel and there are evil archons and you have to watch out. You can't trust people. That's somebody who is not following their soul desire, and the universe is shutting down and saying, hang on, we're not going to co-sign that for you. This is one thing you need to know about the universe. People are codependent. Whenever you have a temper tantrum, right? And people who talk about the universe isn't fair, I want to commit suicide, I want to leave this universe, I want to exit the matrix, I can't trust that, the aliens are out to get me. These are people who are having temper tantrums. And people who are depressed, and I'm not judging them for it, but people who are depressed and act out on their depression, they're having temper tantrums. And what they don't realize is that on an unconscious level, they're trying to manipulate the universe the way that a young child tries to manipulate their parents to give them what they want. And human beings can be manipulated. The universe can't be manipulated. It sees right through all of that, and it will never respond. And people end up dying from all kinds of horrible diseases and horrible life challenges, and they get themselves in prison. And they make these mistakes because they're trying to manipulate the universe to give them what they want, and they do it through all of these ways. The universe won't, the universe doesn't have an issue, but it'll watch you while you kill yourself. So the thing to do is to forget all of that nonsense and go after what you truly want. And then the universe will give you what you need. So that's the third tool, is knowing the rules of the road. The fourth one is what we're doing now. And that one we go into depth on the thunderwizard.com channel. We're going to get into real depth. People who really want to get deep into the answers of how to become a divine being on this earth and to be able to manifest your reality. So go to neo.thunderwizard.com for that. All right, so I think I answered that question. So Snow Buddy, if you have a question, I'm sorry that happened to you, please write the word question and ask a question. Again, I'm not looking for people just dropping things, that's a real thing, but I'm here to answer your question. Dan Skedin says, question, how can one expand the navel center? So everything is based on an assumption. Whether that assumption is accurate or inaccurate will determine the outcome. If your assumption is that you can levitate, let's say your assumption is if you can get 500 feet in the air, then you'll be able to levitate. So you go onto a skyscraper and you get 500 feet in the air and you step off, you're probably going to fall to your death, because your assumption, the base belief that causes you to take that action, is inaccurate or incomplete, because that is an inaccurate assumption that you have the ability to levitate at 500 feet. You have an assumption in your question here. How can one expand the navel center? What does that mean? Why do you need to expand it? Who told you that expanding the navel center is something you needed to do? You may be trying to say something else, like how do you empower the navel center? So the short answer to that question is you can go onto my channel and do any of the Qigong routines. The Thor's hammer, for instance, it's free, it won't cost you anything. That will empower and, I think what you're trying to say, expand the navel center. The one that I recommend is the Celestial Qigong. Go to courses.thunderwizard.com and get that. That will empower your navel center big time. Netheria Fade, any advice on how to strengthen that trust? So please ask a question. I could have missed that. Yeah, that's all I do is give advice on that. Watch my videos. That's pretty much the only thing I talk about. So again, in your question, you have an assumption as well. Your assumption is you need to feel it in order to do it. That's why you're asking how to strengthen your trust. You think that you need to feel that trust in order to be able to act on it. So the first thing you need to understand is that this is like a video game. Our soul came here because it appreciates the fun of the challenge. And if you just felt confident all the time, there would be no challenge for your soul. You wouldn't learn anything. So the first thing you need to get over is this idea that it needs to feel good for you to do it. Trust is not a feeling. It is an action. And your question tells me that you want to feel the trust before you act on it. So it's just like in relationships. And I used to do psychic phone readings, and the majority of the people who called me were women wanting to ask me about their male partners. And they would say, how do I know if I can trust him and all that kind of stuff? And I say, you can't. And they'd go, what? I'd say, you can't trust anybody. You want me to give you a blank slate to tell you that absolutely 100% he is going to always do what you want? I can't tell you that. And I would say, that's not trust. Trust is an action. It's not a feeling. And the truth of the matter is that everybody, including the universe, is going to disappoint you. And the universe is not required to make you feel comfortable to trust. Your job is to take the action. The way that you show that you trust is by taking action. Going and buying that car, or buying that camera and starting your YouTube channel, or investing in that that program to teach you something. You have to. It's probably going to hurt. You're going to have to take an action that is frightening, and you're probably going to have to do something that people are trying to talk you out of. Oh, you shouldn't do that. That's not very this and that, and you should stay at home, or So I can't tell you how to strengthen the feeling of trust. What I can tell you is that if you act, you take fearless action towards what you want, regardless of how much you do or do not feel trusting. That's what's important. The universe only cares about your actions. It doesn't care about your feelings. So get used to it. I'm here telling you, I lived this for a long time, and I feel the same fear as everybody else does. I went through it today. I just went and looked at all of that I got to pay for taxes, and oh my God, and I'm already in debt, and how am I going to get to get the same fear as all you guys do? But I know what it is I'm supposed to do. I know what I want to do, and I'm going to go do it. And in the past, every single time that I have jumped off the cliff and I have taken risks, every single time when I've done it towards what makes me happy, the universe throws money at me at some point. I get everything I need. Health, happiness, friendship, love, money, success. I get all of it. But I'm not guaranteed that I'm going to be free of fear ever, and neither are you. All right. Trevor Mulak, question: what are your thoughts on people who claim to channel Jesus? Well, if you go onto my channel, and if again you figure out how to type into the search bar on my channel, if you type in Jesus, you will see no shortage of videos about this subject of Jesus and Christianity. So for those who have been watching it, know that there's one video on there called "Did Jesus Really Exist?" And so we know from historical sources that the man that people called Jesus of Nazareth historically could not have existed. That person in those in the Gospels, of which we only have 4 of now, there were a lot more, but we only have 4 because those in control only wanted those 4. The man that was, and I recommend everybody read the Gospel. What is it? The Gospel of Thomas. I recommend everybody read that because you're going to see a completely different Jesus in that. And that, I believe, is probably the first gospel from which all the other gospels are derived. And they changed everything around. But that guy was completely different. And I believe that that guy in the Gospel of Thomas was based on perhaps one guy who lived actually hundreds of years before Jesus was supposed to have lived, who was a revolutionary and blah, 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 and was probably killed. But all the other stuff, the supernatural stuff, the Son of God and all that stuff was written in for a bunch of other reasons. But bottom line is that the man named Jesus of Nazareth did not exist. He physically could not have existed because Nazareth was not founded until the time when the Gospels were written, which was something like 200 years after Jesus of Nazareth's supposed death and crucifixion. And so what they were doing, the people that were writing that were using an actual town that was filled with religious zealots called Nazareth, and they were using that because they knew that people who were reading it, it was like, we think of these as like these historical documents. They weren't. They were like reality TV shows that are scripted. These were just being written and passed around, the Mediterranean, and people were reading them like that. They were never meant to be taken as historical documents, So they were looking. This town of Nazareth that really existed, that was causing a lot of issues because there were religious zealots that lived there. They wrote, "What if we put Jesus as being from Nazareth?" And then they write this whole Jesus myth, which never happened. So anybody who claims to channel Jesus, if they are claiming to channel a person named Jesus of Nazareth who died on the cross, who is supposedly a historical figure, obviously that can't be true. So my feelings on that is that it's bullshit. Now, are they tapping into some truth out there that's masquerading itself as Jesus, or are they themselves tapping into truths and saying it's from Jesus? Let me give you another example. I used to be a Christian. I was not only a Christian, I was a minister. I used to pray in tongues. I used to do exorcisms. I read the Bible in Greek and Latin, and I went to seminary and all that kind of stuff. I know as much about the Bible and Christianity as anybody out there because there's only so much, written stuff to know about. And so I'm just giving you some background. When I was 7, I had a dream. I had an out-of-body experience where I went to what people would call heaven. And I had an experience, and I came back from that and said, I saw Jesus. What really happened is that I saw that light that people talk about, near-death experiences. I saw that light, and I went into the middle of that light, and I was completely absorbed by it. And I felt complete bliss and joy beyond anybody's wildest expectations. And because I was a Christian, I just assumed it was Jesus. And it wasn't until, 30 years later that I was struggling with this because I gave up Christianity. And he went, wait a minute, what about that out of body experience? I went, hang on, that light never once said its name was Jesus. Oh, I did that. So somebody could be channeling something and be calling it Jesus because they're Christian. This is kind of what I'm talking about here when it comes to doing shamanic journeys. Just because you have an experience or a vision doesn't mean that you're experiencing or able to interpret it correctly, because you could just be experiencing your own unconscious. Let me give you another example. There's a woman who had a near-death experience and claims to have seen Jesus. And she describes him. She describes his blonde hair and his blue eyes and his, Now, if you know anything about 2,000 years ago, Palestine, the Jews back then did not have blonde hair and blue eyes. Jews now, some of them have red hair and blonde hair and blue eyes, but that's because they've interbred with white-skinned Northern Europeans. But back in the day, they looked like all the rest of the Mediterranean people. They had dark, jet black hair, they had olive skin, maybe even really dark skin, they had brown eyes, hazel eyes maybe, but they sure as hell didn't have blonde hair and blue eyes. So this woman talks about this, and so does that mean that her experience, because she also talks about Jesus appearing to her and telling her this, that, and the other thing, does that mean that she's wrong? Not necessarily. It definitely means that she has projected onto whatever that is, whether it's her own unconscious nonsense or whether it really is some being communicating to her. She has projected her unconscious fantasy of what Jesus is based on what she's seen. So my thoughts are that those are my thoughts. Dean Nevins' question: does Fenris represent the neglected ego and unconscious desires? He has more to say. What does the sword in his mouth represent? Does mantra and ritual serve the same purpose as the sword? The last answer so for any of those of you who don't know who Fenris is, in Norse mythology, Fenris is the wolf who is the son of Loki, the god of mischief and transformation, the god of crazy wisdom. That Fenris is, when he was a puppy, he lived with the gods in Asgard. And he started getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and he got so big that the gods were afraid that he was going to swallow the universe. And so they tied him up in a magical thread, which is the thread of subtlety. They tried to put a rope around him, he broke through the rope. They put a chain around him, he broke through the chain. But they put this magical thread made of subtlety, and that keeps him chained. In order for him to agree to be bound up by that, because he saw the magical thread and he knew something was up, and the god said, here, let us put this thread on you, you'll break through it. And he says, no, there's something up with that. And they said, no, no, no. And he said, all right, if one of you will put your hand in my mouth to ensure it, then I'll let you tie me up. Because then I'll take your hand, I'll bite your hand off. So Tyr, the god of highest awareness, who's associated with victory, he was the only one willing, and he put his sword arm, which was his right hand, he put his sword arm into the mouth of Fenris, and they tied him up, and Fenris bit his hand off. And so he's asking me, does Fenris represent neglected ego and unconscious desires? That is a good way to put it, because just because something is unconscious doesn't mean it's bad or wrong. It just means you're not aware of it. And especially if there's a desire that you have that let's say you have a desire to become, I keep seeing the screen, God, this bugs me. I really wish the internet would cooperate. you want to go, let's say you want to go and feed the homeless. That's your deepest desire, but your father is a business mogul and he tells you that doing that is stupid and that's a waste of time and it's impractical. And so you have guilt. But you can't help yourself, so you go down to Skid Row and you feed the homeless, but you have this guilt about it. Well, if you have guilt on an unconscious level, then what's going to happen is you're going to do self-destructive things to experience that. So people do that when it comes to basic instincts like sex and love and money. People who have guilt about it will end up doing things like cheating on their spouse, or you know, having sex with prostitutes, or doing something dangerous and that's destructive. And that is a sign of somebody's, what Dean says here, neglected ego. When you don't acknowledge those feelings and you push them down and pretend not to have them, they come out anyway. And they'll come out in ways that are destructive to you and to others. And that is certainly something that Fenris represents. He represents a bunch of other things. But I think I did a video, Dean, if I could remember. I think it's one of the ones about Ragnarok. I did a video about what the sword represents, the sword in his mouth. And that represents opening the crown chakra, the Kundalini opening the crown chakra. And that's how we subdue the Fenris within ourselves. So that's a whole video in and of itself. And then you ask, does mantra and ritual serve the same purpose as the sword? Yes, that's a good way of putting it. Mantra and ritual, go up here to whichever one it is, go to courses.thunderwizard.com and click on astrology. Those of you who have had an astrological reading from me will know how powerful mantra and ritual is. You need mantra. Mantra is a series of sounds that if you get it from a qualified Vedic astrologer, they will know the exact mantra and deity that you need in order to clean out your unconscious mind and follow your true path and get all the success that you want out of life. And ritual is, when you face a certain direction and you put offerings, and there's a specific thing in everybody's chart that says what each planet and deity needs from you. My ritual to the deities I work with, even if you were to work with those same deities, your ritual would be different because your chart is going to be different. And so when you do these things exactly the way that they are laid out, then what ends up happening is you hack into your unconscious mind and you get rid of all of those unconscious beliefs and patterns that are blocking you. And that is what you're talking about. That's what the sword does for you. And so, yes, it's just like the sword in that mythology. All right. Sammy B. questions. I know oneness and very awakened through spiritual journey. Before I comment on that, I'll finish the rest of it. But I'm still fighting beings who want to control my dreams. Years now, I've tried light work, but they just come back and torment me. So, Sammy B., if you watch my channel, you will find that quite often I will clearly state that I have not achieved enlightenment in the traditional sense because I don't believe it exists. Because enlightenment as it is being advertised and has been for now a couple thousand years is when we achieve this awareness and we're no longer human and we don't have sadness and anger, and people call it love and light. Everything is love and light. I only focus on what is beautiful and I don't go to those bad places, and I'm not about. Those are people who are in denial. That is not being awakened. And so if you're coming on here because you think I have something to teach you, and I don't know if I do or not. I honestly don't know. You're the one that has to decide whether or not you think I have something of value to share with you. But if you're coming on here because you think I have something to share with you, I can't say that I know oneness and am very awakened through spiritual journey. I can't say that. I still have a lot of human issues that I'm working with. a lot of fears. I still have a lot of pain and anxiety. I have worked through a lot of it. And I'm a hell of a lot better than I was. And apparently, I have something to teach. People think I have something of value to teach. So I've obviously done something right. But I haven't achieved what you've just written. So if you've achieved the degree of awareness that you say you have, then why are you still fighting beings who want to control your dreams? There's something wrong there. You haven't achieved oneness because you're fighting. So the other thing, if you follow what I teach, everything in your world is your own projection of your internal state. So if you live in a universe where you are being controlled and attacked by entities who want to control your dreams, that's inside of you. Those entities, those, if we want to call them demons, those beings are part of you. And when you can accept that they're part of you, then you will have a better chance of resolving that conflict. So I want to attack some of your assumptions here. You have an assumption that something outside of you can control you. If there are beings, and there are things like demons and entities, there are people, there are beings out there that control and harm people. And the only way that that can happen is if you have allowed it on an unconscious level. I used to do exorcisms, and I mean real exorcisms, like the kind of stuff you see in the movie The Exorcist, almost identical to that, except for the head spinning around. Everything else I experienced multiple times. And so I can tell you that there are beings and entities out there that can do that. And here's what I learned. What I learned is that the only way that those beings can attack a person, possess them, or do anything to them is because they, on an unconscious level, have invited them. So I want you to listen to me all the way through, but I'm going to introduce a concept to you, which is if there are beings in your universe that are trying to control your dreams, it's because you've invited them to do so. Now, why would you do that? This is where the word unconscious comes into mind. You didn't do it consciously. You did it on an unconscious level. And what I learned when I did, now you're a different case, but when I used to do exorcisms, every single exorcism I did was connected to somebody who had been physically, psychologically, and or sexually abused. They went through major trauma. Now, you don't have to go through that kind of trauma to have an experience that you're being controlled by other entities. You can have, I mean, I don't know you, but without knowing anything about you, I already know that you grew up in a dysfunctional home. I already know that. You know, I don't even have to ask you that. Because people who grew up in dysfunctional homes grew up where there weren't clear boundaries. And so when you grow up in a place where there aren't clear emotional and psychological boundaries, then your psychic and spiritual boundaries are also messed up. Now, this is very painful. And as we go through life, what happens is our psyches are trying to bring to our awareness all of the trauma that we went through so that we can process it and release it and mature and move on. But because it's so painful, we distract ourselves from it. And when the pain that starts to bubble up is more than we are willing to consciously endure, then we send out unconscious messages for either people or circumstances or entities to come and distract us. And so this drama that you're experiencing of beings coming in to control your dreams is you asking either aspects within you or other beings out there to distract you from what the real pain is. I don't know what that is because I haven't talked with you. I would have to talk with you for a while to find out what those things are. So I applaud that you are following a spiritual path. I applaud that you are following a path of oneness and awakening, but I need you to drop the extreme statement that you know oneness and are very awakened. Just be a human being. Because the most awakened person is somebody who's just a human being with all of their fears and all of their sadness and all of their pain, because that is part of this life. And people, especially teachers, who say that they've achieved oneness or achieved reality or achieved enlightenment are either deluded or lying to you. I don't think you're lying to me. I think you're a little mistaken as to how advanced you are. And again, I don't have a qualitative judgment about that. I don't expect you, nor do I want you to achieve some kind of oneness or enlightenment. I don't want that for you because that's not what life is. A shaman, this is the reason why I call myself a shaman. A shaman is somebody who brings balance. Balance means that there's something always going on. You got to deal with that entity over here and deal with this element over here and deal with people, and this is all happening within ourselves. It's a balance. Sometimes it's a roller coaster ride. This is why I love to surf. Because surfing is you are taking, you're trying to ride this wave that, if it's big enough, can fall on you and push you to the bottom and drown you and, make you swallow a bunch of water. But if you can find a balance with all of this chaotic energy, then it becomes a lot of fun. This is life. So the first thing I need to say to you again is take a look at what's really going on. Maybe you don't know. I recommend you get a spiritual teacher, a mentor, a counselor. Find out what's really going on, why you are manifesting all of this chaos and what the real issues are. The torment is you. You're tormenting yourself. You're in conflict with yourself. I'm not blaming you or judging you. I'm just telling you, I've had everything that you're experiencing. I've gone through it. That's how I know. So keep watching the channel and, watch more of my videos to understand. You can watch the video that I made about demon possession, even though you're not demon possessed, and you'll learn more about what I'm talking about. Thank you for your question. Trevor Mack, again, if you have a question, please write the word question so that I know, what it is. He says, so who are they channeling? I don't know. Why do you need to know who they're channeling? Why is this so important to you? Why do you care? You want me to tell you that they're channeling the devil? That they're channeling evil alien beings? I don't know. I don't know if they're making stuff up. I don't know if they're, there's a lot of frauds out there who aren't spiritual at all. They're just looking to make money. Listen, I think about it all the time. I mean, I know exactly what to do and to say. I could create a cult tomorrow. It's so easy to do. I know exactly what people are looking for and how to exploit people. I wouldn't be able to live with myself. So there are plenty of people out there that are doing that. There are people who are deluded, who are unconscious and very deluded, and there are people who want so badly to connect with Jesus, they manufacture Jesus in their mind and channel something. I could name some names, but there are people who claim to be channelers. When you listen to them, a lot of them, they're not saying anything. And if they do have something of value to say, there's nothing that they're saying that anybody else couldn't say. It's just common sense. But people are so desperate. They're so desperate to get out of their own limited life, their fear-based life, that, but it's coming from a higher being, or it's coming from an alien, or it's coming from Jesus. And then, somebody says, be good to others. Oh my God, that's so true. Being good to others. But if somebody just says, I was thinking about it the other day, and I think, it's a good idea just to be good to others. People don't listen to that because it's not coming from. So who cares? Doesn't matter. All right. What else? All right. No more questions at the moment. I'll take a short break, and then I'll come back, and if there are any more questions, I'll answer them, and if not, we'll call it an evening. I'm Michael Denny of SpiritTao.com, and this is Celestial Negung Part 1. Celestial Negung means that this is power that is descending from heaven. And the idea is that we are all microcosms of the entire universe. You are the entire universe, and everything around you is simply the projection. You are looking within yourself. So when you look up into the stars at night, you're actually looking deep within your own body. When you look at the sun, the moon, the trees, the flowers, you're looking within yourself. This is Negung. And so what we're doing is we're simply releasing that infinity from within us. You are tapping into and releasing the power that is within our own body, our own cells, our own organs. So one of the reasons that I'm making this DVD is in the hope that the essence and the spirit of the teaching of the Shang Qing arts can be taught to the world at large, and it is my hope that the core essence of what the Shang Qing tradition is will continue to live and grow and evolve. As we move on into the Aquarian age, everything is changing. I don't need to tell you that. The entire world is changing, and what we are seeing now is that if people hold on to external things, they are very challenged in life. And those who are making the transition into the next phase that we are moving into in the world as we approach 2012, those who look within and find their source of strength from within, those are the people who are getting the most out of life and will make the transition into the next phase of evolution most comfortably. It is my belief that the Shang Qing tradition is one method whereby human beings can evolve into the next level of being in the most comfortable fashion and be able to take advantage of the rapid, energetic, mental, and spiritual changes that are going on in the world today. All right, so I'll check and see if there are any. I still don't think there's any more questions here. No, I don't see any more questions. All right, so that's going to be it for me today. So, 4 things again that we're talking about. Whoops, something just happened there. What just happened? Okay. Dean Nevin's question: how can I safely use the Fehu rune outside of a ritual setting? Sorry, I'm hesitating because the little red light was on. How can you safely use the Fehu rune outside of a ritual setting? You can chant it, you can draw it, you can, it's a pretty safe rune. So I don't think you need to worry about it being, listen to yourself. Everybody's different. And if the energy gets too intense, just back off. So I don't think you need to worry about it too much. How much would be too much? You figure that out. Listen to your instinct, and your instinct will know what you need to do. Okay, so 4 things that we wanted to talk about today in this is that, getting back to the OA, the shaman is the individual who channels information and energy from other dimensions. And it's always for the benefit of not just yourself, it's for the benefit of everybody. Second thing is that there is a sign of movements where you can do certain movements which will open up portals to other dimensions, other beings, other aspects of yourself, different aspects of time. And this is one of the things that Celestial Qigong does. When you do it over time and you do it consistently, it does all kinds of things. It will open you up and align you on all 3 levels, but it will also give you the ability to communicate with other realms, and you will become more sensitive to that. And that takes time. It's a skill like anything else. You got to put some effort into it. Traveling to other dimensions is what we do when we do shamanic journeys. Shamanic journeys are great for that. And Some of us have this ability, and I've shared techniques on how to do that. There's some people that contact me and they can't, for the life of them, they can't do shamanic journeys. And there are some people that do journeys and they do experience that they are able to do journeys, but they get overwhelmed or there's too much information. So here we've got journeys.thunderwizard.com, and there I guide you to places and to specific journeys that I go to from time to time whenever I need to get information or to expand my awareness into these other realms. And so guided journeys can be very helpful. Journeys.thunderwizard.com. Integrating all selves from other dimensions. This is again what I think soul retrieval is. This is done, among other ways, is done through personal counseling. Whether you have a teacher, whether you have a spiritual teacher, whether you have a mentor, whether you have a spiritual, whatever, a counselor, a therapist, this is really integration of different parts of yourself. And this is essential. The true shaman originally was a healer, was an herbalist, was a philosopher, was a performer and a writer, and was also a psychologist. They were all wrapped into one thing, and you went to the shaman for all of those things. So this is really what soul retrieval is. So while I'm thinking about it, if you go up here to courses.thunderwizard.com, you will see rune readings. And I just got a new rune reader, and he is doing an introductory special, I think 30% off or something like that. So if anybody's looking to get a rune reading, and those of you who are my students who are rune readers, I recommend that you do specials from time to time, because that, I do see that those work. So you can go to courses.thunderwizard.com to find out how to get a rune reading. I talked about astrology, how to get an astrology reading. You can go there. I have astrologers also who give readings as well. And the 4 things that I think are most important, go to neo.thunderwizard.com to learn about that. Okay? So if there isn't any other questions, we'll call it an evening. One last question. Jedi Black Knight question. Can the 30 Saj rune mudra be used to invoke other runes in the same direction, such as Isa or Ehwaj? All right, what are you asking me? So Jedi Black Knight, my friend, I have looked at your chart, as you know. Your Saturn makes you hyper focus on details. And one of the things that I recommend that you do is to simplify everything that you do. You do too much and you overthink things. So whenever I get like this, if you're asking me a question and my face gets all scrunched up, it's because you're getting so focused on details and you're trying to do so many things at once that even I don't understand what the hell you're talking about. So in this case, again, I just want to give you a general note. Stick with the instructions I've given you about whatever it is that you're doing, and just do that. And your brain is going to want to always come back and overthink it and rethink it and repackage it and redo it and add this and take that away. So I recommend just going back to the basics, master that. You don't really need to do too much. But let me see if there's something in your question. Can the 30 Saj rune mudra be used to invoke other runes in the same direction? You mean, could you use that mudra in another direction and, chant Isa or Ehwaj? I mean, you can. I'm okay with that. Try it and see what happens. My experience is that the 30 Saj rune mudra works best with 30 Saj. But I'm not going to say it won't work with other ones. So you're on your own with that one, and you'll find out. Listen to yourself and find out. Okay, and write notes down. Write down all this stuff. Oh, wait, hang on one second. I got to fix something here. There we go. All right, that's it for me tonight, my friends. I've got nothing else to talk about. I need to eat and relax. So we're getting used to all the new stuff. Again, uh, go to thunderwizard.com. I recommend everybody, whether you're a long timer or a short timer, I recommend everybody sign up for the Manifestation Mastery course. I'm going to have more Q&As there, more focused on some deeper stuff. And I recommend everybody listening go and sign up for that. Okay, that's it for me. I will see you all next time, my friends.